Hello, grade nines. We are going to talk about order of operations today, and I'm going to do some examples for you. Um, what we are doing in Math 9 is we do order of operations, which I know you've been doing for a while, but we are going to do them with integers and decimals and fractions. And I suspect that some of you are, it's harder with integers and decimals and then even harder with fractions. But that's what we're learning in grade 9. The concept that's new with this in grade 9 is we are actually going to do things with brackets and or exponents. And you've done a little bit of work with exponents now, so I can throw some of this at you. And you actually have all the knowledge you need to do this. What you need now is practice. So I've given you 3 pages of practice. Well, I guess there's 6 pages because it's all double-sided. Um, and it's up to you to decide how much you need to do to be able to do this proficiently. Okay. If you need more practice, I will happily give you more practice. It's really easy for me to generate more worksheets. If you think you only need to do one, then I guess that's okay. I will tell you that unlike most math that you get, these pages are all the same, like everything in the 5.1. Um, the 5.1 page or version 1 has exactly the same kind of content as version 2 and version 3 and anything else I give you. It does get slightly harder as you go from question 1 to question 12. Definitely it gets more involved. There are more operations, but the concept doesn't change at all. And there's just more work to do in each question. Um, I want to, okay, so you only need to do as much as you need to do. In fact, scroll down to the bottom of this page and it says you don't have to do all of this. You need to do as much as you need to do to be as good as you want to be. Okay. If you know that you're going into workplace math next year, um, don't stress about getting through 5.2. No, actually 5.2 you should do. Don't stress about getting through 5.3, which is doing this with fractions, because that's not a skill that you need for workplace math. And I would rather that you got really good at doing it with integers and decimals than you stressed about doing it with the fractions. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the examples page. Um, so you're supposed to evaluate expressions. Each expression, you need to show your work as if you didn't have a calculator, which means if it's not a number fact, yeah, you can't do multiple steps at one time. Okay, that you need to show me that you know how to do this without a calculator. But I also do want you to be able to do this with a calculator, and it's not as easy as you think to punch this whole equation into a calculator. And in fact, I don't think I would ever do it. I think I might punch in chunks of it, but I don't think I would ever try to put the whole of any of these things in entirely in a calculator, because your brackets and how you group things becomes really important, and I just don't think it's worth it. I think do it in pieces and write it down. But I want you to try it. I want you to see how to do that. And then it's important for you to be able to check these using your calculator. So that's something I want you to work on after you've done the questions um, the long way. Okay, let's look at this first question. I'm going to do 5 squared is 25 times 3 divided by 15 becomes 75 over 15, and 75 divided by 15 is 5. So there's my answer. Question 2. I need to do what's inside the brackets first, so I'm going to 5 times something. And I don't need, this isn't an adding fractions situation, because 8 divided by 2 is 4, so this is negative 4 plus 6. So this is 5 times 2, which is 10. And I do want to see this amount, these numbers of steps. Okay, I don't want you to skip any of these steps actually, because I want you to show me um, that you did the work. Okay, if you had just if you'd skipped this line and gone right to 5 times 2, I don't know that you did this on your own. You might have used your calculator. Okay, and the only way I can let you guys use your calculator on this work, on the quiz and then on the tests, is if you show me your work. Okay. Question 3. Um, question 3. Looking for my mouse here. Where's my mouse? Oh, that mouse is not connected to the computer. Sorry. Okay, when I have a negative hanging out at the side here, I float it up and I'm going to make this negative 30 on top in the numerator. Okay, so this becomes negative 30 over minus 11. And now, remember my exponent only affects what it's touching, so it's only the 2 that's getting squared. So this becomes minus 4. So this is negative 30 over minus 11 minus 4 is minus 15, and that gives me 2 as my answer. Oh, I didn't circle my 10. Okay, question 4. You only need to watch as many of these, actually watch at least as far as number 5 because there's new stuff in there, but I think you should just watch all of these because you probably learned something. 40 minus 8 is 32. Now I can do what's on the top and what's on the bottom in the same step because I can't do anything until they're both simplified, and then I can compare them or reduce them or divide them or whatever it is that I'm going to do. But I need to clean up the top and clean up the bottom before I can do that. In the denominator, this time the 2 is touching the bracket. So remember that negative 2 in brackets squared is negative 2 times negative 2, which is 4. So this is 4 in the denominator. Now see how I did that little piece of work over to the side? If you want to write out parts of the calculations that you're doing, you do it over at the side, not on the in the flow of the equation, okay, or the expression. So you wouldn't have it in here because what I need to have is this line equals this line equals this line, and this chunk over here doesn't actually equal any of those things. It's just a piece of it, okay? All right, 32 divided by 4 is 8. There's my answer. Okay, question 5. There are nested brackets here. Ah! Okay, nested brackets are not anything to panic about. You just start with the inside ones and work your way out. So sometimes it's helpful to change some of them to square brackets so that you can see which bracket matches which bracket. And we usually have the rounded ones inside and the square ones outside. That's just it's a convention that exists. All right. Because I'm going to be a good student, I'm going to write down everything except what I'm changing. So negative 1 plus 14 becomes 13. So I'm replacing everything, the brackets and all of that, with 13. So this negative here is this minus, or this minus sign here is this minus sign here, and I still need to keep that. So pay attention to that. And then times negative 6. And then I have negative 30 divided by negative 2 times negative 6. So I'm going to do this in order left to right. So I'm going to do my division first because the division and the multiplication are the same priority. So I do them from left to right. So negative 30 divided by negative 2 is 15. And then that's times negative 6, which equals 90. And then maybe I'm going to come back and put my equal signs all along the sides. This one's ugly. But anytime I see minus minus, I'm just going to make that a plus, okay? Because it's the same thing. So in this question, um, there's a couple of ways that I could do this actually. I'm going to show you both. So negative 7 plus 13 plus 9 divided by 3 squared. Okay, if I just leave the question the way it is, I could, if I wanted to, sort of looking ahead, I know that I'm going to combine these two, but I can't do that yet because there's a step in the middle there. And then I'm adding it to whatever's over here. That actually means I can do this addition in the same step as I do something with the exponent because I know that it's not going to get combined with anything down there yet. So I can do negative 7 plus 13, 6 plus 9 divided by, oh, 3 squared. I can do that now. 3 squared is 9. Okay, I can't add these two because I have to do this division first. Okay, so if that confuses you, don't feel that you need to shortcut things like that, but it is something you can do if you are comfortable with it and you're getting the right answers. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is my 9 divided by 9, so that becomes 6 plus 1, which is 7. Okay, the other way I could do this, or an other way I could do this, is I can keep this negative 7 plus 13 plus 9 divided by 9, because I'm doing the exponent first. And then negative 7 plus 13 plus 1, because 9 divided by 9 is 1. And then I don't actually have to write this down, but in my head, I'm going to change this to 13 plus 1 minus 7, because negative 7 plus 13, what is that? I don't know. That's weird. But if I change it to 13 plus 1, okay, that's 14, and then I take away 7. Oh, that's 7. That was easy. Okay, because remember, when you're adding and subtracting, you can change the order. Okay, as long as you keep the signs with the right things, it's fine. Okay. Um, yes, that's called the commutative property of addition. Okay, next page. I'm going to do what's inside the brackets first. So this becomes 10 minus 4 minus 25 bracket times 4. 10 minus 4 is 6 minus 25 times 4. That's negative 19 times 4. And my calculator tells me that's negative 76 minus 76. Okay, here's another one with a minus minus. I'm just going to change that to a plus, just like that. Then I'm going to do what's inside the bracket. So this is negative 12 times 13 minus 36 over negative 3 plus 9 is 6. Now, I didn't float this minus up because it's not a negative right now, it's a minus, like I'm subtracting something. Okay, so it only makes sense to float it up when it's the first thing in the sequence. Okay, so now this is negative 12 times 13 minus 6, which is negative 12 times 7, which is negative 84. Okay. Number 9. Okay, here's a really good example. This part, all of this in the brackets here, where I'm going to do this in a different order than what it has there. Okay, so in my head, I'm going to go 11 plus 9 is 20, minus 10 is 10, minus 8 is 2, minus 3 is negative 1. Okay, and then I still need everything else that's here, right? So I still have these outer brackets here and here. So that's times 6, and I can put the square brackets around it, and then minus 30 divided by. So don't lose those brackets. They're really important, okay? So negative 30 divided by negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5, and the signs are the same, so my answer is positive. Okay. If I lost these brackets, my answer would be very different, wouldn't it? Because it would be negative 30 divided by negative 1, which is 30, times 6, which definitely is not 5. Okay? Okay, number 10. 10 minus 1 squared. I can do that in my head. I know that 1 squared is 1, so 10 minus 1 is 9 times 2. Need brackets around that. And then divided by, and I actually can do what's inside these brackets this step if I want to, because I have to do what's in those brackets before I can combine it using the division sign. So 9 times 2 is 18 divided by 2, which is 9. 2 more questions. Number 11. Okay, I've got some nested brackets again. So I'm going to do the inside brackets. Negative 2 minus 14 is minus 16. And I'm going to write down everything else because that's how I get the right answer. Negative 2. All right, negative 16 times 2 is negative 32 minus 13. That is still in brackets. Divided by negative 15 times negative 28 divided by negative 2. Negative 32 minus 13 is negative 45, and I don't need the brackets anymore because I've changed everything that's in the brackets to that single number. Divided by negative 15 times negative 28 divided by negative 2. And I have to do these in order from left to right. So negative 45 divided by negative 15 is 3 times negative 28 divided by negative 2. 3 times negative 28 is negative 84 divided by negative 2 is going to be 42, and it'll be positive because that's a negative divided by a negative. Last one. I can do I need to do what's inside the brackets. So negative 17 plus 9 is negative 8 divided by 4. Now I could leave this as plus negative 9, but I'm going to change it to minus 9 because that's how I'm used to seeing it. That's the normal way of doing it. And then I have something in brackets here that I'm going to clean up, and I'm going to change this minus 4 to plus 4. So I've got negative 13 plus 4, which is negative 9, and that's all in brackets and squared. All right, next line. I know that I've got this exponent to deal with, but I also, because there's a minus and a plus here, this division is separated, so I can do it in the same step. So negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2 minus 9 plus this negative 9 squared. Because the negative 9 is in brackets, it's negative 9 times negative 9, which is positive 81. And then I have negative 2 minus 9 is negative 11 plus 81. And in my head, I'm switching places and I'm saying 81 minus 11. Well, that's easy. That's 70. But negative 11 plus 81, I have no idea what that is. Okay, so that one is 70. All right, so that's it. There's some examples for you. Go ahead and do the practice. Bye.